Managing tantrums and your emotions with peaceful confidence.
Bring in calm, not chaos. Toddler tantrums are the worst, aren't they? I bet as I speak about toddler tantrums, you're imagining your toddler flinging his arms and legs in the air, wailing and crying at top decibel, and that thought itself is making you feel scared or angry. Maybe you're breathing heavily, your heart's beating faster than normal, and you just want to run away from here right now. Well, this is exactly what happens in your brain and body when you are face to face with a toddler in the moment, in the middle of a tantrum. Remember in the last module you learned about your toddler's brain? Their higher brain is under construction, but they have a well developed lower brain responsible for all the basic survival functions and emotions. Remember? I want to inform you that you have a lower brain with the same capacity. Let's take a real life example to understand this better. Say your toddler has already had two chocolates and he comes to you with a cute little puppy face and says, "Mommy, please, can I have one more chocolate?" You really want to kiss that little puppy face. You also know saying no is suicidal at this point, but there is really no other option. You just can't allow one more chocolate. So you say in the most calm and gentle tone possible, "No, dear, you already had two chocolates. No more for today." And there goes, as expected, your toddler is flat on the floor. His screams are already at level 10. He's determined he wants one more chocolate. You're seeing this and you're thinking, "Oh no, not again. Why does he do this to me? I told him in the most gentle way I could. I just can't be nicer than this. Still, he's acting like this. He's just getting more and more stubborn every day. I need to do something." All of that talk in your head is influenced by your primitive lower brain. As soon as it detected a threat, in this case your toddler's tantrum, it sets off the alarm systems, making your body ready for fight, flight, or freeze, sending out stress hormones, telling every part of your body, "SOS, threat detected, we are going to die, do something." In the heat of the moment, when your lower brain tells you, "Do something, make this stop," your child becomes the enemy. The whole scenario turns into you versus them, and all your mental energy is being spent on thinking, "How can I make this stop right now?" And with this objective in mind, your brain quickly fetches from its existing database of information and past experience, and you might choose to do one of these things. You might yell, "Stop it right now. No means no." You might threaten, "If you don't stop screaming right now, you're going to get it from me." Or you might just leave your child crying there and walk away. Or you'll give in and say, "Okay, stop, just one last, okay?" You and I know how that goes. You know what happens when you do that? You're adding fuel to the fire. Your toddler's lower brain is already reactive because it's not feeling safe for some reason. That's why he's acting out. Instead of helping them feel safe when you lash out at them, they feel even more scared or angry, which fuels their lower brain even more. Basically, chaos plus chaos equals more chaos. In effect, the whole experience is a lose-lose because you chose to react to the false alarm your lower brain raised. That's why you, as the mature adult, as the loving parent, will need to do the tough job of bringing in calm in the midst of chaos. Think about it. Was this situation of your toddler demanding one more chocolate a serious threat to survival, like as if you were faced by a tiger? No, right? But that's what our lower brain is there for, to alert us at the slightest threat. Plus, the lower brain is emotional. It cannot think logically or rationally, which is why we need to consciously employ our higher brain capacities to rationalize in the moment and say that, "No, this is not a threat. This is not an emergency. I don't have to panic. I can handle this." But the problem is the lower brain is quick to act. Quickness in action is required if you're really faced with a tiger, right? The higher rational thinking brain, however, is slower. So going back to our situation, if we had to do anything differently, if we had to act more maturely and bring in calm in the midst of chaos, if we had to use our higher brain functions to think right and make the right disciplined moves, what we needed was to slow down. There was a trigger, your toddler's tantrum. Your lower brain jumped in immediately with a reaction, which we saw is absolutely ineffective. To prevent that, when there's a trigger, you need to practice the pause. So your higher brain gets the time it needs to think, evaluate, and respond to your child lovingly and meaningfully, even in the midst of the worst tantrum. The best part about practicing the pause is that each time you choose to pause and respond in meaningful ways that help your toddler feel safe and calm, you're creating a new database of steps for your brain to fetch in similar situations in the future. The more you practice the pause and address your child gently, even in the middle of a tantrum, the richer your database becomes with positive discipline experiences to fetch from later. Which means every next time, your brain can respond easily and faster in a calm, peaceful, and effective way. Do you see how you can design a beautiful positive discipline loop for yourself and your child simply by practicing the pause over and over and over again? In the upcoming lessons, I will show you exactly what you need to do and say as you take the pause right in the moment when your toddler is throwing a tantrum. Like Eleanor says, when little people are overwhelmed with big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not join in their chaos. You, as the calm, confident coach, can bring in calm into your child's chaos. You can teach your child healthy ways to manage his emotions through co-regulation. And most importantly, by consistently practicing the pause and responding calmly, you're paving the way to effectively reduce the number and intensity of tantrums your toddler throws over time. So today, at this point in time, where are you now as a reactor? How much would you rate yourself as a reactor? Meaning, out of 10 triggering situations, how many times do you react out of your lower brain instincts, yelling, hitting, bribing, or threatening? Take a moment and put down that number. If you rate yourself at a 7 as a reactor, it means you're a 3 as a responder right now. Put that number down too. Now, out of 10, where would you like to be as a responder? By setting a goal, you're giving your mind something to work towards as we go through these lessons. So please take a moment and put a number down as your goal. Lastly, I want you to pause this video to take a minute and write down your why. Why do you want to respond calmly and meaningfully to your toddler in the moment, in the midst of a tantrum? Knowing your why and reminding yourself about it will motivate you to stay on track, to learn and implement the right discipline moves. Before we deep dive into how you can manage your emotions and your toddler's tantrum, I want you to know that toddler tantrums aren't bad. They are in fact a necessary part of your toddler's development. Normally, tantrums last between a few seconds to 15 minutes or so. It's typical and normal to see aggressive behaviors like hitting, kicking, flailing their arms and legs, lying on the floor, crying at top volume. Usually, the aggression in tantrums subsides by 3.5 years. However, if you feel concerned about your toddler's tantrums, if they're really intense, lasting longer than 15 minutes and happening multiple times in a day, it's like you feel you're walking in a mine full of hidden bombs waiting to explode, then it's best to seek professional help and assess if there are any deeper needs or concerns. The point I want to make is, because of the intense behavior you see during tantrums, it's natural that you might have a very strong emotional reaction towards tantrums. It could make you feel angry, or maybe you're scared of tantrums and would do anything to make it stop. I want you to revisit your feelings about tantrums and train your mind to accept tantrums because they are opportunities to teach your child healthy ways of coping with their big emotions, to teach their brain how to go from chaos to calm. That's an important life lesson, a life skill called emotional regulation that you can help your toddler with if you can stay calm and help them through each time. And that's what you learn in the upcoming lessons. Above all, every tantrum is an opportunity to show your child that she's safe and loved no matter what. Imagine what a strong statement of love that is and how it strengthens your bond with your child. As you follow the gentle discipline approach towards tantrum, you will notice that the tantrums become fewer and fewer, less longer and less intense over time. So are you ready to dive in and learn how to pause? Great. So join me in the next lesson.